Many times people confuse simplicity for being simple in thought. And I don't think it actually means that. In fact, I think it's much easier to be complicated and complex than it is to be really simple and concise. And these days, people are so overwhelmed, time is of essence, information overload everywhere you go, that being simple and clear, I think, is really critical. Early on in my career, especially when you're younger, you do a lot of work. You create lots of analyses. You create lots of beautiful charts. And you're really proud of that. And you can create a 100-page presentation and feel like, wow, I'm good, I've done a lot. But I was really challenged at McKinsey, and one of the things I really learned was to really take all of that and synthesize it into one executive summary. 1 page, 4 or 5 bullet points. Because it was the insights, and it required a full understanding of all the content in order to be able to synthesize and clarify and simplify into 4 or 5 bullet points. It could seem almost deceptively simple. But how did you know it was those 4 points that required the 100 pages of work in order to get there? And I'm really grateful for that experience because it's challenged me to constantly wade through information and call out what are the few most important points to simplify. Because that's what people can understand, that's what they can resonate with, and that's what they can act upon. I think the ability to simplify requires actually deep understanding, and it actually is supported by complex thought. A simple test I like to use is the 5-year-old test. So if I'm able to explain any concept to my 5-year-old niece, then I'm pretty sure I understand it. It's when you talk to a master or a craftsman, the language they use to describe what they do is deceptively simple. It's only because they have full mastery of that content that they're able to break it down into very simple terms that anyone can understand. I was quite inspired when I came to this gallery in Tokyo a few months ago. I met the artist, Kuni, and I was asking him about this current exhibition. I asked him what was the concept behind this exhibition, and he said, nothing. He said, I just took some cloth and some thread, and I ran it through the sewing machine, and I let it go freely, and out came these pieces. So I thought, that's so interesting. Could I do the same thing? And he looked at me and he said, probably not. And then what I realized is that he actually has spent 30 years studying fashion design, art, painting. So he has developed more than the 10,000 hours required to attain mastery, according to Malcolm Gladwell. And he's been able to refine and hone his art and craft. So he actually had to go on a journey of self-discovery, of learning, of studying, of building mastery in his craft to get to a point where he could just create freely. It's this journey of self-exploration that actually gave him the freedom to be able to create what we now appreciate as pieces of art. So I think there are actually practical ways that I think we can really keep it simple. I think one is about conceiving. Conceiving it is about giving ourselves the time and space to clear our thinking. The second one is about sharing it. The sharing could be with another human being, or it could be by yourself. I'm an extrovert, so by talking, I actually can clarify my thoughts. But before I do that, I'll often just sketch things out. I'll draw pictures, I'll storyboard it, I'll prototype it, because there's so much complexity and so many random ideas that often it's when you take a step back from that where you can actually start to see the connections and the themes. So that's actually another practical way that I actually simplify the complex. The third one is what I call refine it. Refine is actually the process of cutting and removing things that are unnecessary, of grouping things together. And the last point is really to invest in it. Investing in it sounds a bit strange because we're talking about being simple. But in order to really be able to be simple, it requires deep mastery. So investing in is taking the time to study your topic, to really practice it, to really build expertise, and sometimes even to teach it, because teaching is often the best way to learn it. And so keeping it simple actually can be learned and it can be developed. And at the end of the day, everyone is so busy. So let's really try to keep it simple. you.